Okay, so straight up, stomach injections work the best for absorption. Wait, thigh injections for nausea, that's it. Actually, your pharmacist says it doesn't really matter at all. Now, if you've heard all three of these, you're not sure which one is actually true, and you're not crazy. See, the advice is very conflicting, and it makes anybody feel crazy. So I'm gonna cut through all that noise right now and just make it super simple for you to understand. I'm Dr. Jones, DC, and I coach thousands of patients through GLP-1 weight loss, Ozempic, Mounjaro, Zepbound, now Retatrutide, and I've done years of injections on myself as well. I work alongside a medical team who handles the prescriptions while I focus on the lifestyle and protocol optimizations, including injection technique. And here's what I can tell you after years of doing this. The whole where should I inject debate has taken a life of its own. You've got TikTok videos saying stomach is the only way to go, Reddit threads swearing that the thigh changed everything for them, Facebook groups arguing about arms versus love handles, and none of them are telling you the full picture. So here's the truth. I'm gonna break this down by medication because it actually matters which one you're on. Site selection matters for one of these medications, and for the others, it's almost irrelevant. But the mistakes that are actually costing you 20 to 30% of your medication's effectiveness, those have nothing to do with which body part you choose. They're technique errors that your doctor probably never mentioned, and they're easy to fix once you know what to look for. So here's what we're gonna cover. First, I'm gonna show you what the science actually says, because most of it's being misquoted, and then I'll break down each medication, Ozempic, Mounjaro, and the new one, Retatrutide, so you know exactly what applies to you, and then I'll give you the technique fixes that will make more difference than any specific site location ever could. So let's talk about what the science actually says. This is where most people get confused, and you've probably seen somebody cite a study that says abdominal absorption is faster than the thigh. Now, that technically may be true, but here's what they're not telling you. There's a difference between how fast medication absorbs and how much medication your body is exposed to. In pharmacology, these relate to the CMAX and the AUC. Okay, so the CMAX is the peak, which is the highest concentration in your system, and the AUC is the total area underneath the curve, how much medication that your body is exposed to over time. See, here's why this matters for weekly GLP-1 medications. These drugs are designed to stay active over 7 days. They build up to what's called a steady state in your system. So even if one site gets the medication into your bloodstream a few hours faster, which is what the CMAX measures, the total exposure over the week is broadly similar. That's the AUC. And the AUC is what actually determines your results. So think of it like this. If you're filling a bathtub, it doesn't matter if your faucet runs slightly faster for the first 10 minutes. What matters is how much water ends up in the tub when you're done. Same thing with your weekly injection. The speed of the initial absorption is just noise, but the total exposure throughout the week, that's the signal. So when someone says that they switched from the thigh to the stomach and suddenly broke their plateau, what's actually happening? Because that has been documented by lots of people, and that's why TikTok's going crazy when they talk about this. It could be that they changed their injection day at the same time, or this is a big one, that they accidentally fixed their technique error that they didn't even know that they were making, and we'll get to cover those here in a couple minutes. So here's how I explain this to our patients. This is what everybody is focused on. Where do I inject? But this is not the same as what actually matters. So I'm going to show you what goes in this column. But first, there is one medication where site selection actually makes a measurable difference. If you're on it, you need to know this. Now, if you're watching this thinking, I've probably been making some of these mistakes, or if you're just starting out and want to make sure that you're doing everything right from day number one, my team can totally help you out with that. You guys can text number on the screen, or you can check out the link in the description to book a free discovery call. You'll talk to one of our patient educators who can walk through your specific situation, and then they'll give you an idea of what it's like to work with me or my team so they get a full picture of whether or not this is something that you want to explore. All right. So starting with Semaglutide, that's Ozempic and Wegovy, and the generic compounded versions. For Semaglutide, the FDA-approved label lists all 3 injection sites with no dose adjustment between them. Stomach, thigh, arm. Studies suggest roughly 10 to 12% lower exposure when you inject in the thigh compared to the abdominal area. That's a real difference on paper, but for most patients, it's not enough to change your clinical results. So if you're on Semaglutide, inject wherever you're most comfortable. If you prefer the stomach area because it's easier to pinch, great. If the thigh is less awkward for you, do that. If you've been agonizing over whether you picked the wrong site, just stop doing that because it probably doesn't matter. Pick a site, rotate within that site, and move on. Now here's where it does get a little interesting. Tirzepatide is different. Now that is Mounjaro or Zepbound. So for tirzepatide, there's more reason to think that site selection might actually matter. Based on what we see in our clinic, patients who inject tirzepatide in the abdominal area tend to get stronger medication effects compared to the thigh. Now the exact percentages haven't been published yet, but the pattern is consistent enough with what we see that we factor it into our recommendations. So does that mean you should always inject tirzepatide in the stomach? Not necessarily. See, here's the trade-off. Faster absorption in the abdominal area can mean stronger side effects. And in our clinic, some patients report more nausea with abdominal injections. So if you're somebody who gets hit hard by nausea in the first few days after your injection, the thigh might actually be the better choice. You'll absorb slightly less, but you'll tolerate the medication better. Think of it like a dial. The abdominal area gives you maximum potency, but potentially more side effects. Thigh gives you slightly less potency, but potentially smoother sailing. Neither is wrong, it just depends on what your body needs. Now, if that trade-off just clicked for you, and if you're realizing that this isn't about finding the best site, but about what your body actually needs, hit that subscribe button right now because we put out 2 GLP-1 videos every single week breaking down exactly this kind of stuff, the nuance that actually matters for your results. And be sure to turn on that bell so that you get notified every single time I put out a new one. Quick minute, I want to tell you guys about the Flow Academy membership. Essentially, this is my private community on Mighty Networks. You'll have access to a community coach, live coaching calls that I do, which are unsolicited. I don't have to market like my free lives. I'm just there to help you guys out as much as possible, and a ton of free resources as well to guide you through the various protocols that I talk about in these videos. So all you got to do if you're interested in joining that is just become a member to this YouTube page, and then there's a link that you can access after you become a member that'll allow you to join the community. Now back to the video. Okay, so what about Retatrutide? This is the newest one, the triple agonist that's still working through FDA approval. Here's the honest answer. We don't have published site-by-site pharmacokinetic data yet for Retatrutide, yet. But my best guess, based on the fact that it's structurally similar to tirzepatide as a multi-receptor agonist, is that the site selection probably matters for Reta too. But I can't tell you the exact numbers because nobody's published them yet. When that data comes out though, I'll be sure to make a video about it. So for now, if you're on Retatrutide, I'd treat it like tirzepatide, the abdominal area for maximal effect, thigh if you're sensitive to side effects. Now let me know in the comments, which medication are you currently on? Ozempic, Mounjaro, Retatrutide? Because I'm planning more videos about each one specifically, and I want to know what my audience is actually using. Okay, so here's the real question. If somebody asked you right now, which medication actually requires you to think about injection site, could you tell them? Think about that for a second. Okay, so now let's talk about what actually is costing you results. Because while everybody's debating stomach versus thigh, these technique errors are quietly sabotaging your medication, but they're fixable once you see them. Remember this column? Let me fill it in for you. Number 1, and this is a big one, lipohypertrophy. Now that's a fancy word for thickened tissue that forms underneath your skin when you inject in the same spot over and over again. See, here's what happens. Every time you put a needle into the same area, you create a little bit of micro trauma, and your body responds by building up fibrous tissue, and that tissue doesn't absorb medication properly. I mean, I've literally had this conversation so many times, and it goes very similar. I'm plateaued, I'm not getting results, and there's a lot of reasons for that, but sometimes the basics, I was injecting in the same area, was something that nobody ever had that conversation with them about, and we correct that, ask them to palpate and fill the area, and there's bumps. They're not absorbing in that area, and so let's take the low-hanging fruit here and fix that first. How do you know if you have it? Feel around your injection sites. If any area feels thick, firmer, or rubbery compared to the surrounding skin, that's lipohypertrophy. Stop injecting there. Move at least 2 inches away, let that tissue heal. Number 2, pulling the needle out too early. Now this one is subtle, but it matters. Different pins have different hold times. For Wegovy, you need to hold for a full 10 seconds after the click. For Ozempic pins, it's about 6 seconds. For Tirzepatide and Retatrutide, I tell our patients to count to 10 to be safe. Now if you pull out too early, the medication can actually leak back out of the injection site. You won't necessarily see it. It might be a tiny drop, but over time, those tiny drops can add up to real losses in effectiveness. Okay, number 3, injecting cold medication. If you're pulling your pin straight out of the refrigerator and injecting immediately, you're making this harder than it needs to be. In our clinic, patients consistently report that room temperature injections are more comfortable and go more smoothly. The fix is simple. Take your pin out 15 to 30 minutes before you inject and let it come to room temperature. Put the pin back in the fridge immediately after. Don't leave it out, but that warm-up window can make a real difference in comfort. Number 4, the wrong injection angle. The subcutaneous injections need to go into the fat layer, not the muscle. If you go too deep, you're injecting into muscle tissue, and that changes how the medication absorbs. The general rule of thumb is 90 degrees if you have plenty of tissue to work with, 45 if you're leaner, and if you're not too sure, pinch the skin and go in at 45 degrees. That's the column that actually matters. Rotation, hold time, temperature, angle, not so much which body part you picked. Now, actually, I'm a little curious here. Let me know in the comments your current injection routine. Where do you inject? How long do you hold? Is it warm or is it cold? And I'll tell you if you're leaving results on the table. I read these comments and I'll give you real feedback. Now, here's the part where I want to address some common concerns because I know some of you are worried about things that actually really aren't problems. Bruising, usually not a big deal. It typically means you nicked a small blood vessel or you went a little shallow. As long as it fades normally and it isn't spreading, you're fine. Pain at the injection site, there's some discomfort is normal, especially the thigh. Sharp ongoing pain might mean you went too deep. Now, lumps that show up after the injection, if they go away within a few days, that's just the medication disappearing. Totally normal. And if you didn't feel anything during the injection, that's actually the goal. It doesn't mean the medication didn't go in. Now, before I give you the full protocol, I want you to be honest with yourself for a second. Which of these mistakes actually sound like something you've been doing? Think about it for a minute. Now, I'm gonna give you exactly what to do here. This is the protocol that we teach our patients. Simple and easy to remember, and it actually works. Okay, first, the rotation system. Divide your injection area into 4 quadrants. If you're using your abdomen, imagine drawing a cross through your belly button. Upper left, upper right, lower left, lower right. Each week, move to the next quadrant clockwise. Week 1, upper left. Week 2, upper right. Week 3, lower left. And week 4, lower right. Then start over. And within each quadrant, shift your exact spot by at least an inch each time. Never hit the exact same spot twice in a row. Okay, second, the pre-injection checklist. About 15 to 30 minutes before your injection, take your pen out of the fridge and let it come to room temperature. Clean your injection site with an alcohol swab and let it air dry completely. Decide whether you need to pinch. If you have plenty of tissue, you can go straight in at 90 degrees. If you're leaner, pinch the skin and go in at 45 degrees. Third, during your injection, go slow and steady. Don't rush the plunger. Once it's fully depressed, count to 10 before you pull the needle out. Pull out at the same angle you went in, and don't rub the site, just let it be. And fourth, when you make adjustments, if you're on Tirzepatide and nausea is crushing you, try switching from the abdomen to the thigh. You'll absorb slightly less, but you might tolerate it better. And if you're bruising repeatedly in one area, you might be going too shallow. Check your angle. If you notice any areas getting thick or firm, stop using them immediately and expand your rotation. That's it. Rotation, temperature, angle, hold time. Get those 4 things right and you're maximizing what your medication can do for you. Everything else is just noise. And if you've hit a plateau and you're wondering if your injection technique is part of the problem, describe what you're doing in the comments because I read every single one. Sometimes the fix is more simple than you'd actually think. Okay, now look, I just gave you everything that you need to get your injection technique right. Rotation, temperature, angle, hold time. But here's what I know from coaching thousands of patients. Technique is just one piece of the puzzle. If you're on a GLP-1 and you're not seeing the results that you expected, or you're dealing with side effects that are making this harder than it needs to be, or you're just not sure if you're on the right medication or the right dose, that's not something a YouTube video is really gonna fix. Especially TikToks or Instagrams for that matter. That takes someone looking at your specific situation. And that's exactly what my team does. You guys can text the number on the screen or you can check out the link in the description and you'll get to talk with one of our patient educators who will go through your history, what you've tried, what's working and what's not. And then they're gonna walk through how our program works, the coaching, the medical team, the ongoing support, or whether or not it's the right fit for what you're trying to accomplish. If you've been spinning your wheels, trying to figure this out on your own, confused by all the conflicting advice, or not sure if you're doing it right, wondering if there's something that you're missing, this call is where you'll get clarity. Now, one of the big pillars that you need to understand if you aren't already thinking that is food, food, food. So if you haven't already seen this video right there, this is one where I actually break down foods that you probably think are helping you, but actually most likely are not. So check it out there, guys, and we'll see you later.